Hello and welcome to this, the 18th of Ovid's Heroides. This letter is from Leander to his girlfriend Hero. Leander lives in Abydos on one side of the Hellespont, which is a narrow body of water which today I think is entirely in Turkey and is the Dardanelles, but I don't know very much modern geography, so definitely buy a map and don't trust me. And his girlfriend Hero lives in a city opposite him, just across the water, a couple of miles of water, in a city called Sestos, I think. And she lives up a tower, nice, full fairy story vibe, and she shines a light at night so that he can see to swim across the water so they can meet secretly under cover of darkness, and then he swims back again just before it gets light. So he is writing to Hero because something has gone wrong with this seemingly excellent water-based system, and that is the weather. There's been a terrible storm for a week, so he can't swim over, and he is therefore reduced to writing to her, which he's not impressed by. The sky is black, he says, the winds are wild. He's only managed to find one audax, a bold boatman who is prepared to even sail across the Hellespont in these conditions, let alone anyone swimming across it. And so he's sending a letter with this guy. Why not go with the boatman? Why not sail over so he can see Hero for himself? Well, everyone will be watching this boatman set sail, including Leander's parents. So if they want to keep their secret relationship secret, he can't do that. It would be laid bare, he says. So he's sending the letter, which he slightly fetishizes. He says she'll be touching it soon with her lovely hands. She'll maybe open it, he says, with her white teeth. He would rather be using the hand he is writing with for swimming, he says. I'm sure that's true. Line 21, it's more fitting, he says, for this hand to be stroking the placid depths. I'm sure there is a way of translating that line where it's not just a massive euphemism, but I haven't come across it. Another euphemism, and therefore we're just going to have to let it. I mean, it's Ovid. It's definitely a euphemism. If only I'd managed to get the euphemism klaxon fitted, it would have gone off multiple times during this poem, frankly, because in line 24 he says, now, however, this same hand that he's writing with is a servant to my feelings. Yes, Leander, I bet it is. A week since you saw her. Is that right? For now, he says, he is sitting on a rock staring sadly at her shore because he can't get across the water. 3 times, he has tried, 3 times, line 31, he says he's stripped off. It's very erotic, his swimming. He says he's stripped off and entered the sea, but he's nearly drowned. The water's covered his head over, and so he's had to give up. He begs the north wind, Boreas, to give him a break. He says, even you were in love once, you know, why are you being so mean? The north wind is always mean. Then he wishes, line 49, that Daedalus would give him wings so that he could fly over, even though he is right by the Icarian Sea, the sea named after Icarus, who famously falls from the sky. This is, we might legitimately suggest, not a good omen for having wings and flying. It turns out doesn't always work out well, although on the plus side, you get a sea named after you. On the downside, don't wholly get to enjoy it. Line 54, because he can't travel to her, he indulges in remembering what it was like when they spent their first night together. That sort of makes up for it a little. He says, namque est meminisse voluptas, remembering itself is a pleasure. He remembers, line 57, he remembers stripping off. It's very much about him stripping off. He remembers stripping off and shedding his fear along with his clothes. So the act of getting into the water, which is obviously quite scary, it somehow loses its fear for him as he focuses on the action of getting ready for it. He prayed to the moon goddess as he swam across to light his way, which she does. So he says that the girl he seeks, he prays to the goddess. He says the girl he seeks, line 66, is herself a goddess. That's how beautiful Hero is. And this works. The moon lights his journey. It's as bright as daylight, he says, 78. Line 85, it's still a tough swim though, even with all this beautiful moonlight guiding him across the water. His arms, his upper arms, it's so great, I love the detail here. By his shoulders, they start to get tired, but he sees Hero's light and the strength rushes back into his arms. It's love that keeps him warm, even though the water is cold. He says, line 95, I work hard to bring pleasure to my mistress. And that's before he's even landed. I wish I could get past the euphemism klaxon. I just can't. Here it is. It's Ovid. That's just where it is. Line 102, when he finally gets to her shore, they kiss. Kisses by the great gods, he says, which were worth seeking across the sea. So obviously Hero is an excellent kisser. No wonder he's prepared to make the effort. She takes off. I love this moment. Hero takes off her dry clothes so that she can towel him off with them, because he's dripping with the sea and she's all toasty dry. Nox et nos et turris conscare knowit, he says, night and us and the tower know what happened next. So no one's telling, we'll have to just guess. We can get an idea though, because in line 107 he says, I can't count the joys of that night. Line 112, he leaves just before dawn, and it comes a bit too soon as far as he's concerned. And then just one of the loveliest moments in all of these poems, I think, lines 119 to 120. He says, when I'm coming to you, I'm a swimmer. When I'm leaving you, I'm a shipwreck. It's just perfect. We've all had that sort of night, Leander. Don't feel bad. He says it's downhill on the way there. It feels like it's uphill all the way home. Oh, so true. Line 122. They are one mind, Leander and Hero. He says, one mind held in two lands. It seems so outrageous to him that they are separated by geography. And line 132, the fish know him by now, he says. He's swum to and fro so often. Line 141, another bad omen. He mentions Helle, after whom the Hellespont is named. She famously falls into the sea, and that's how it gets its name. Maybe stop thinking about people who drowned. Leander, it's just a thought. He talks about the constellations, which would help guide him across the sea, but he doesn't need them because he has Hero's lamp, line 155, and that is brighter than any of these constellations. That is obviously not technically true. It's just nearer. I like to make these things clear, because otherwise scientists write in and are sad. Line 161, often he says, my arms are tired from the incessant stroke. The swimming stroke, stop it now. That's your, actually, I don't think that is your euphemism, Claxon. I think that's another euphemism. Line 173, it doesn't help, Leander, that the sea between them is so narrow. It might as well be the whole world when it can't be crossed, which it can't in this weather. It taunts him that she's so near. It's like, he says, like the fruit and drink of Tantalus, or he doesn't name him, I think, he just refers to him. But Tantalus, famously, the word tantalising comes from this, in the underworld, is always reaching out for food and drink, which he can't quite get. Another bad omen, surely, somebody else dead. Geez, talk about something happy. And this is the summer, he says, line 186. There's obviously worse weather that's going to come. They need a solution to this problem. If the weather doesn't improve, line 196, he says he's going to swim over anyway, because, you know, he'll just drown, and then death will put an end to his cares and to his love. Finally, line 203, he decides to stop complaining. He asks Hero to pray for better weather as well, and also to keep her lamp burning for him always. Line 216, he prays, the very last line of the poem, that he will follow his letter soon. We'll have Hero's reply next week, letter number 19. Until then, bye for now.